Hello friends, it's Dave here from SaveDex, and today Nintendo gave us a Nintendo Direct Mini, this time showcasing what their partners are bringing to the Switch. They did promise us this morning that it was going to be games already announced, so we weren't expecting anything new, so I'm here to just tell you what I thought of it. So they showed off 5 different games here within 4 different segments, so let's go through them. The first announcement was DLC for Cadence of Hyrule. It's a game that I really want to get more into, but I haven't really had time to get into it really, but I have enjoyed what I've played of it massively so far, and with DLC now on the way, I really should start playing through this more. So we're getting 5 additional characters in DLC Pack 1. Some of them seem pretty cool. You got like Impa, definitely really happy with that. Shadow Link, yes, happy with that. Shadow Zelda, interesting to do it that way. But one question I've got to ask is, who on earth is Frederick? I really don't know if that's meant to be someone already. I've never heard of him. So, because someone can let me know in the comments, that would be great. The next DLC pack we're getting is new music, like 39 songs from the Zelda universe. Lots of Zelda goodness there, lots of great music from Zelda. Hopefully we'll see music from Mallow Mart added, because that's a really cool tune. And the third one is what interests me most. We're getting a brand new story where you play as Skull Kid and you get different masks that affect the gameplay. So a nice little throwback to Majora's Mask there. Then we're getting a physical version on October the 23rd, so that is pretty cool. I just wish I hadn't bought it already because I haven't played it much, and I would have loved that physical version with all the DLC included, because it is paid DLC, the first of which is arriving today, I believe they said. So, and then you can purchase a season pass to get the other 2 packs later in the year, so I think that's pretty cool. Nice little gentle way to start off this Direct. So next they showed off a game that I'd never heard of before, but people already knew about it. Rogue Company, a third-person online shooter, and it looks pretty cool. It said it was team-based, which I'd rather a free-for-all personally for this sort of game, but because I don't work well with others. So basically we're going to get more info later today apparently, so look forward to that. The next announcement was one that interested me. I had heard of this game. It was WWE Battlegrounds, and in this one it showed off, it was Andre the Giant, John Cena, Jeff Hardy and Stone Cold. So like a mixture of legendaries and some current ones as well. Basically, I remember WWE All-Stars on the Xbox 360. I had it, which was like old and new wrestlers and an over-the-top arcadey fighter. This looked even more over the top. It like they're jumping up in the air and slamming down like really high, and that's pretty cool, and that's coming out in September. That's something I could look into, although I used to be really huge into WWE, but I'm not so much anymore. AEW all the way for me now, and I'm really, really wanting to see this AEW game that's apparently in the works from the people that made No Mercy. I mean, oh my god, I'm really looking forward to that. But it said about pre-ordering it at the end, and it looked like Edge was there. So is Edge a pre-order bonus, or is he just in the game and he's just there for the poster? Who knows, but it's nice to get another WWE game on the Switch, because I didn't play 2K18, but because I haven't played a WWE game since 13, because I sort of got out of wrestling at that point. But really, like, it really annoyed me what I heard about WWE 2K18 when they said you could only have 4 wrestlers in the ring, and the Switch just couldn't handle the game, and it was like a really terrible version of it. I don't know what the other consoles versions were like, but it annoyed me because 6 wrestlers in the ring at once, like the PS2 could do that. There's no reason why the Switch couldn't do it, so it annoys me that the Switch ended up with this really botched version of the game. But in my day, I'm sounding like an old person here, in the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, all 3 consoles got their own different WWE game each year. So it's weird that now they're doing one game a year. They couldn't have just made a different game for the Switch that was less intensive, but who knows. If they just put Day of Reckoning 2 on the Switch but allowed like 6 wrestlers in the ring at once, I'll be really happy with that. I mean, that game was amazing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. That's coming in September. That looks pretty cool. I'd rather an AEW game because I'm really into AEW now. But we'll see what happens. And then they saved the best till last, I'm sure for many people. It didn't really mean much to me because they announced a cult classic from 2003. I was sort of thinking Persona 5 maybe? Is that finally going to come to Switch since, you know, Joker's in Smash but his game isn't on the Switch? But that's not what it was. It was Shin Megami Tensei 3 Remake, as I'm calling it. Basically, apparently that was a cult classic. I've not really known much about this series. The only reason I've heard of it is because they did a crossover with Fire Emblem, but I never played that either. So that's coming spring next year, which is pretty cool. And then they said Shin Megami 5 is coming next year as well, worldwide simultaneous, which is pretty cool. So that's 2 big games, I'm assuming, coming out next year. And so for people fans of that series, that's great. And I think, was Shin Megami 5 that game that was shown off in that January presentation before the Switch came out? Because if it was, then I think that was the last game from that presentation that hasn't come out on the Switch yet. So that's sort of like feeling like the end of the first wave of Switch games now, finally. Like, it was going to be over 4 years in, isn't it? So that's pretty cool that they're coming for people who are fans of that series. It's a lot to look forward to there. So what did I think of this overall? Basically, I wasn't expecting much. My hopes weren't high. All weekend I was listening to people's discussions on YouTube, like speculating the rumoured Nintendo Direct. We're going to get the 3D Mario remasters. We're going to get Pikmin 3 or Pikmin 4. We're going to get Mario 3D World. We're going to get the Breath of the Wild news and all that. And it's like... But then we found out this morning Nintendo were very, very right. They must have known about these rumours to say, look, it's a partners thing. It's not going to have first-party games. It's going to be less than 10 minutes long. And it's going to be games we already know about. That's the crucial thing. So no one was expecting any surprises or anything like that. It's going to be games we already know about. I couldn't help but get my expectations high. I sent out a tweet this morning saying, you know what, Bayonetta 3 falls under that criteria, an already announced Switch game from a partner. I was hoping for a trailer for Bayonetta 3, to be honest, but we didn't get it, so sadly I am disappointed in that regard. But they didn't underdeliver. I don't think they did, because they didn't really promise much. They promise us surprises, didn't promise us big announcements or anything. And this seems to be the way they're going, because we've only had 2 Nintendo Direct Minis this year, basically, and then other Directs that are focused on one game or one franchise. So that seems to be the way they're going, and that, like, obviously Paper Mario just got announced on Twitter, wasn't it? So maybe the Nintendo games in future will just be announced that way, but hopefully we'll get something soon. But I think if they were planning a full-blown Direct, this 8-minute something video, that would have easily fitted into a 40-minute Direct and wouldn't have been out of place at all. So I kind of think they're not going to do a full-blown Direct. So they could have just slotted that in there. And they promised us they'll do more of these sorts of videos in the future. They said this year we'll be getting more partner ones, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully they'll do more of the indie showcases as well, because I really want to see how Skatebird is doing. So anyway, so those are my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct Mini today. It was okay, it was fine. It wasn't mind-blowing or anything, but I wasn't expecting it to be. I had my hopes up for Bayonetta 3, didn't get it, but that was just my own fault for overhyping myself. Nintendo very wisely got everyone's expectations low going in. Hopefully that will help it. But yeah, I might check out Cadence of Hyrule a bit more, but I'm still playing Paper Mario Origami King. I'm planning to do a review of that, so make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this Direct, what you thought of the games announced. And thank you very much for listening to my thoughts. I will see you in the next one.